Hey everybody, Dr. Quinn here, and I want to introduce you to week 4's content. Okay, so in week 4, we're going to keep looking at PARC principles. You're going to watch a video on tips in citing and listing sources using APA. The reason for that is for writing assignments 2 and 3 that you're working on right now, you're not going to really need APA all that much. Maybe one entry for the website, and I would absolutely be satisfied. But for writing assignments 4 and 5, you're going to be doing some hybrid technical / academic style texts, and so you're going to need that refresher. You will look at some sample quick start guides from the industry, and you will be watching a video from Candid Career on writing resumes. And of course, in week 3 as well, if we go back to the learning resources, we already started to look at some quick start guides, and so we looked at these, and there's a video in the discussions. If you haven't seen it already, go back and check my video review of quick start guides just in general. Okay, so that's something to think about. That already prepared you. But we're going to be talking more about these PARC concepts. You'll notice that this is just one page of resources, and we've got these sort of reference links here. It's a little bit less busy as far as the preparatory content, and it's going to be more of that you're working on your writing assignment 3 submission. So in the discussion, you're actually going to do a look ahead. This is preparing for writing assignment 5. It's the resume, cover letter, PARC summary. So we're just continuing to reinforce these PARC concepts because a lot of technical writing is about how easy is a document to follow, and how the more pleasing, simple, direct that you can make it, the more accessible it is to a wider group of readers. It doesn't need to be wildly busy. Sometimes when people create resumes and cover letters, they can make it, especially resumes with like the skill set bars, that's become quite popular lately. But that ends up becoming so busy that I think and somebody who's on a hiring committee can lose the plot. Right, that they may lose focus on the main things that you've done because there's too many bells and whistles, and it's become quote unquote busy. So we're going to be looking in this first discussion about PARC concepts in relation to resumes and cover letters. You'll look at some samples. You've got a podcast link, the unspoken skill gap in the cybersecurity market. We know a lot of our students are cybersecurity students, but even if you're in HR, even if you're in business, even if you're in history, psychology, poli-sci, English, a lot of the content I think could be applicable to you. Okay. Let's take a look. Then it says, answer the following questions. You know, a couple sentences, a short paragraph. We're talking about storytelling and narration this time. Okay, so you can see how discussions from week 3 are sort of bleeding into week 4, but hopefully that repetition is going to be helpful for you. We've also got some opportunities to look at different job search websites that we provide in these 2 links here. All right. Discussion topic for week 4, analyzing websites for PARC concepts. And I just wanted to remind you, remember in week 2, you started that familiarity process with PARC. Now we go back into week 4, and not only is the discussion of the resume and cover letter a PARC summary of content there, but you're also going to analyze websites for additional PARC concepts. We're just going to keep, it's not that we're beating a dead horse, but we're going to keep practicing it to get to that concept mastery. So you'll get a chance to, instead of looking at one website, you're going to be analyzing different websites, and you'll see sort of my thoughts on different websites in here. And then I will be responding individually to everybody's a resume, cover letter, PARC summary. Okay. Now, the week 4 assignment is going to be this quick start guide. I want to go in a slightly different way than you do so I can show you the assignment overview. So if we go to report to the supervisor, and I edit it, I can just open this. Actually, you know what? I'm going to open it like a student does. Okay, I changed my view. This is exactly what you will see when you go into activities and assessments and you choose assignments. You can click right here on the quick start guide. You've got this assignment overview, which is what we're going to go over first. Actually, open that in a new window. That's always better. Okay, so there is no minimum or maximum word count, but this does not have to be a ton of words. It can be no longer than a page. It's explicit. It's bold. Graphics don't need to be labeled. If you remember the printer review and some of the other quick start guides that I reviewed in last week's discussion, you'll see that you're only going to use bare bones images, maybe 3. I don't think you need to overdo this. Simple and to the point. I'm looking at proof of concept and concept mastery more than I need this to be wildly complex, because I don't think instructions documents need to be complex, and a quick start guide needs to be just how are you condensing the instructions that you just made? So same website, are you condensing it into just the basic steps? So say, for example, you're doing a restaurant. What are the basic steps to get to the sort of endpoint of a user can walk their way through it? You don't have to worry about personas in the Quick Start Guide. It's just the bare bones. Okay. Take a look at the Quick Start Guide resources from week 3. You can look at the sample. You can look at my video tutorial. Yep. Imagine the user of your set of instructions just wants a reference. Usually when people use Quick Start Guides, it's for like the second, third, fourth time, just as a quick refresher. They've already had a little bit of exposure. Okay. A brief overview, a sentence long. You also want a title of the document. You could say Quick Start Guide 4. Step-by-step instructions that they're numbered. Graphics is appropriate, again, 2 or 3. Graphics need to be your screen captures and they don't need to be labeled. But we want there to be some sort of ease. And in the discussion video that I posted in week 3, I talk about how should the page be oriented. So I think that will really help you. Often, I think what's best is, let me actually just show you. Okay, so this is my own creation. This is not a student sample, but this is something I created for one of my favorite restaurants. This is Faux Japanese Bistro, and you'll notice that I added their logo. You don't have to do that. I've got a title here. I've got my text on a left alignment. And I've got my text, the text is left and the corresponding images are on the right. I actually have 5 images in here and it's just a 1-page document. I've got the title. I've got the 1-sentence blurb. I mean, you could also, at the bottom add call. You could put like a phone number there if you wanted to. This is legitimately what we're looking for here. And let me make this a little bit smaller so you can see exactly what it looks like. Everything is aligned on the left-hand side. I set this up in 2 columns. So if we go to layout, I went to 2 columns. I put my instructions in there and then I play with my images. I took partial screenshots of each element. And since this was in all caps, I made this in all caps. This was red. I wanted consistency. I made this red. Choose your category. I have a list of just some categories. Click the plus sign. The plus sign, we can maybe bold that just to make it pop, to add to your cart. And then checkout. And I think checkout here is actually, if that's one word, I would maybe bold it. Really short and to the point. Make sure to log in and create an account. So like the next screen, once you click checkout, takes you to the login. The images are not labeled, but they are nicely on the same line. At the same starter space, there's alignment at the top of each one. For the most part, pretty close. These steps together go with this image. But this is basically what a quick start guide should look like. It doesn't need to be hyper busy. You could have fewer images than I do, but you want your steps to make the most sense. Just direct. And you don't, again, you're not providing the 17 steps that you had in the instructions, just the basics. And then perhaps maybe I wanted to add one more thing here. Watch how it throws my stuff off for a second. I'm just typing this in here live. That's one step that perhaps I wanted to add. Let's just do it like this. Let's see what happens. Okay, so I've got a lot of that's fine. What's happening is you can see my second column, my images are moving down, but when you set it in the 2 column, it creates that really nice alignment. And I can always go to my home tab and I can click on, and I know some of you are really good graphic designers and you're already doing this, perhaps not in Word, but I want to show you that it can be done. So I want to play with my margins just a little bit more. Let's take that one out. I could perhaps make this guy a little bit smaller. Although I'll run into some of those issues of, am I going to be able to read it? But then you can see, let's see, we want this to go down. Just play with it a little bit, but you should, yep, there we go. That's exactly it. So I think because I changed the size of some of these. All right, it took me another maybe 30 seconds, but I figured out how I wanted to do it. And I don't expect it to be super perfect, but I was thinking of park concepts as I was putting this together to make sure that each of the steps are 3 and 4 are with this image are somewhat aligned, and it's sort of easy to find what we're doing here. That last step just did not have an image, and that's okay. I don't think I needed a 7. There we go. So that's how I would set this up if I were you. And if you don't want things to move around, you are welcome to save it as a PDF. And of course, I'm going to demo this in Word. So if you go to File, you can go to Print. The easy way to do it, unless you've paid for Adobe, it could, you could just go to Print to PDF, and then you choose Print, and then it's the cheap way of saving it. So I'm going to do QSG sample, and I will include this as a link. So you can kind of see a sample of the way to set up the quick start guide. I think visually this makes sense. We read on the left, the images on the right. We're going to read the step first before we look to the corresponding image, and so on and so forth. Then when you go into the assignment overview, let's go back to this assignment overview. The instructions are pretty short and to the point. You'll notice that includes the instructions briefly, 1 point. The length of the document is 1 page because we want students to show proof of concept, but we're not expecting you to create the 17-page printer quick start guide, right? The quality and originality of the graphics. And think if I played with it more and I played with my margins, I could probably make my graphics slightly bigger. I edited one of them. You don't have to. I mean, that they are aligned. That was important in that little video that I showed you of how I was aligning by making 2 columns. Steps beginning with the appropriate imperative verb. You can see that I did that with click, checkout, make, choose, click, right? And then checkout. Since this checkout, by the way, is an orange, I'll go orange. Well, that's not really all that bright, is it? But you can kind of play around with some more of those consistency elements. What if we did that one? Maybe there's not as much contrast there, but you can play around with this. And the quick start guide hopefully doesn't take you too long. You just have to determine what are the most important steps to share with your audience. Okay. The steps are numbered. The list provides clear instructions, just the super basics. That if you're starting with if you're writing full sentences, you use periods. If you're just using like one word, a fragment, you wouldn't need to. And then document design. So those are the elements of how this is going to be graded. The assignment is worth, I think, 45 points, or hang on, 50 points. 50 points. So I will be filling these rubrics out, and as I give you feedback on the final version, if you have any questions, let me know. Again, this will be due at the end of the week on Tuesday. You're welcome to post a draft by like Sunday afternoon, and I can give you some quick feedback just like it did in writing assignments 1 and 2. I really look forward to seeing your work this week. I think this is a fun assignment. This is much less stressful than writing assignment 2, but it shows how well you understood the creation of writing assignment 2 and how you can condense it for just the generic person, not a particular persona. Let me know if you have any questions.